This past winter, we were fortunate enough to be able to experience some of the most radical trips that I've done so far in my skiing career, from cat skiing to just some kind of bigger mountain stuff, all the way down to heli skiing. As we stare down the weekend of 4th of July, I figured why not come out with a little ski recap of some of my favorite ski trips from the last year. Now, before we get into the official top 3 countdown, I wanted to give an honorable mention, a shout out to my most recent Mammoth trip, which just happened in June. If you didn't see any of those videos, go check them out. I had a really fun, about like week-long trip with Abe Kislevitz, who is the senior creative director at GoPro. So we always have a fun time linking up and shooting things together. We obviously skied a bunch, and we also did some mountain biking, some hot springs adventures, and just some pretty cool, just like GoPro stuff. So that was definitely a fun trip. It wasn't like a really like proper like heart of winter ski trip, but it was still a ski trip nonetheless. Kicking off the number 3 spot is our trip up to Whitefish, Montana at the end of February. I got invited up to Whitefish by Great Northern Powder Guides to experience 2 days of steep and deep cat skiing, but I was also able to tag on a day at Whitefish Mountain Resort as well. So it was a kind of a joint effort between Great Northern Powder Guides and also like the actual Whitefish Tourism Board as well. I flew up there to Whitefish, stayed at the Firebrand Hotel, and just had a great 3 days of skiing. However, the trip didn't really start off as planned because I ended up almost losing my ski bags and having like the whole trip shot. My skis actually didn't make it on my flight last night. It's direct from Salt Lake to Glacier International Airport, which is just outside Whitefish, and my boot bag made it, but the carousel stopped and they're like, all right, that's all the bags. And that's actually where today's video sponsor, ShipSkis, comes in. ShipSkis is a door-to-door shipping company that essentially takes your skis from your doorstep to your final destination, wherever that is. They just take the hassle and the stress out of traveling with your gear and make it so you aren't like lugging like 2 heavy overweight ski bags through the airport and then have to worry about if they made it on the plane or if you're gonna show up with only 1 ski boot and not the other one. They just kind of take all that stress and hassle out of the travel with ski gear experience. And ShipSkis makes it super easy. It's literally 1, 2, 3. You basically just log in, say where you are, where you want to ship your skis to, what kind of bags are you working with, and essentially print out a shipping label, and they will come pick it up and do round trip service from where you are to your destination and back again. You get real-time tracking of where your bags are, complimentary insurance on your gear in case something happens, and just all around great white glove customer service that's available 7 days a week. So if you have some ski trips planned for this upcoming 2025-2026 winter, I highly recommend you check out shipskis.com. They can ship your stuff anywhere in the world. Click on the link in the description or the pinned comment of the video, and you can use the promo code Catania20 at checkout to save 20% off the entire order, so you can ship your stuff and travel stress-free, knowing your gear, your boots, whatever it is, will make it to your destination. Thank you, ShipSkis, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back into the Whitefish story. Fortunately, I made a 3 a.m. airport run that morning to retrieve my skis, and just a few hours later, I ended up going up to Whitefish Mountain Resort, my first ever time there. I was excited because it was a brand new mountain town for me, just a whole new mountain in general. So I ended up exploring kind of the main advanced areas. I think one of them was like Chair 5 or something with like this really big cliff wall underneath it. And then after avalanche mitigation was done, I was able to work my way over to the backside to do the runs over there. I think Gray's Golf Course and some of those other gullies and stuff over there, which ended up being really fun. And kind of the sun started to come out. We had like some blue sky at a time, and you got to see like the really cool Montana-esque trees as we were going up the chairlift. But just a really cool sort of introduction to Montana skiing, and I think I got a nice feel for whitefish with the low vis, sort of the tight chutes. And I was very impressed with whitefish, the caliber of tree skiing there, the steeps, just the all-around challenge of that mountain was really rad, and it was just beautiful on top of that. So after I spent a day at the mountain, enjoyed a nice little hot tub, rooftop hot tub overlooking whitefish. The next 2 days was cat skiing, and it ended up being very, very good cat skiing. I did their steep and deep program with Great Northern Powder Guide, so you just get a little bit longer runs. The runs tend to be a little bit steeper, and there's a little bit more challenge with the trees and stuff like that. But I had my White Walker 121s just floating around. I don't think it stopped snowing for the 2 days, so it was just absolutely epic conditions, rad guides, rad groups of skiers, and we just got around to skiing like 8 or 9 or 10 runs a day of just some really rad steep tree stuff with some super creamy conditions. So it was a very fun experience. I haven't really been like on a full cat trip like that in a very long time. So it was a really cool trip. The folks up at Great Northern Powder Guides were awesome. It's a family run ordeal, and just really glad that I got the experience to do that and showcase their operation up there. So my second favorite ski trip of the year, we will call the Golden Trip. This is the second or third year where I have gone up to Golden, British Columbia with my family to ski Kicking Horse primarily, and also Revelstoke. But this year was a little bit different because all of my sisters came, where previously it's usually just my oldest sister and my dad. But this year, all three of my sisters came. And I think that's what made the trip so special, because I haven't really been with all my sisters like that skiing together. I also had some cousins come along. So it was like a really fun group trip that had a lot of interesting dynamics. Not everyone is like the best skier out there. So it was rewarding in the sense of getting everyone together and kind of tackling terrain that people were maybe uncomfortable with, or they were new to. So it was 3 days of some very high consequence type skiing. If you've been to these mountains, you would know what I mean. But Kicking Horse, we did a day at Revelstoke, and then we went out to Lake Louise for the first time ever. We skied legendary stuff like the Ozone, Redemption Ridge, CPR Ridge, some of the back bowls in Lake Louise, the trees at Revelstoke. So it was just a really intense, and it's always such a skill upping trip when I do those, because the terrain is just unlike anything that I really get to ski here in Utah. And so to push myself, both mentally and physically, it's always a fun challenge. But I think just being there with all these people is what made it the most rewarding. And then that trip is just so memorable because I was with my sisters, and we still talk about it to this day. We had people crying, we had people in literal terror of their lives at some points, because those runs can just be very, very intimidating. But I'm already looking forward to going up next year. Hopefully we can score like a powder day up there. I really have yet to score like fresh snow up there in BC. We'll be back probably up in February again, and hopefully we can get some more gnarly terrain and just experience the beauty of the British Columbia and Alberta area. And the number one trip of last year, it's probably no surprise if you were following along, is the CMH Bugaboos heli skiing trip in early December. This was mind-boggling, and to this day, it is probably the most insane, most awesome, most incredible trip that I've ever been on in anything that I've done, really. CMH heli skiing was kind enough to bring my dad, Joe, and myself up to their Bugaboos Lodge, which is where the whole heli skiing thing started in the first place, for like a 4-night, 5-day, something like that, heli trip up in the British Columbia area. It was just so incredible because you get flown back into this lodge that's totally off the grid. It literally runs off a generator and like propane and stuff like that. So you're in the middle of nowhere with like 20 other people, and you just hang out and ski for 4 days with a helicopter right outside your doorstep. We had some of the most epic conditions. I don't think it stopped snowing like the whole time we were there. And I know how much it meant to my dad, Joe, because he's the reason I ski in the first place, right? But he loves skiing so much. I think it's his most favorite thing to do in the entire world. So I know that he's kind of always dreamed of a trip like that since he was a kid. And he told me stories of how he would look at ski magazines and they would talk about the Bugaboos. And so to be able to be in this position with the kindness of CMH to bring myself and my dad up there was just like, it was the icing on the cake, really. We used the White Walker 121s every day. It was just like basically bottomless, early season snow. There's really not much more to say when you have basically your own private helicopter for 4 or 5 days. And then you go back, get in the hot tub, tons of great food in front of you, and you just do that day after day after day. So not only were the conditions great, but the whole experience, being up there with my dad, meeting all the other people in the lodge, and just like this camaraderie that you have being up there together for such, a week, kind of off the grid in the middle of nowhere, it felt like, was just really rad. So hopefully I'll be able to do something like that again this next year. If not, just be in a position in my life one day where I can just go out and do those sort of trips, because that's really like the mecca. That is like the ultimate experience of skiing. No lift lines, like it's just kind of next level stuff. So I think on the docket maybe would be like a Japan trip is something that I really need to experience. I would love to go for like 7, 10, 14 days and just get like hammered on with snow and just ski pow with some fat 121s. And I think also experiencing Europe and the Alps would be cool as well because of that whole culture inside of skiing. So I'd love to be able to do another heli skiing trip, maybe another cat trip up in Montana would be really cool as well. But if you guys have any ideas or if you have any recommendations or any connections or anything like that, yeah, drop them in the comments. I hope you guys are enjoying your summer. I know it's probably like the worst time to come out with a ski type video, but I mean, kind of is what it is. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thank you to Ship Skis for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to click the link in the description or the pinned comment and use the code Catania20 to save money on shipping your stuff this season. So thanks for watching, squad. I'm heading up to Canada, actually with CMH to do some more heli hiking stuff. So I'm gonna be in like the Banff area for a little while. I'm excited to be back up there. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.